What is going on, my fellow comic book readers, collectors, and enthusiasts alike? I am your host, Alt, here at Control Alt Defeat Comics, and I am back with my weekly comic review show. Better late than never. I already explained a little bit why it is late in my last new Comic Book Day vlog, so I'm not going to go into the specifics, but if you do want to hear a little bit about why I've had to delay this week's video, check out that new Comic Book Day vlog. But either way, I am here, and I have finally read through this massive stack of comics from Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, and I am ready to finally get through and review these things. But before I do, I'm going to, as I always do, issue my spoiler alert. If you have not read, or if you've not read any of the comics that came out for Wednesday, March 25th, or at least any of the ones that I picked up, go ahead and just skip off of this video now. If you just want to find out what I picked up last week and you don't want to hear my in-depth thoughts, opinions, and reviews on the individual issues, go ahead and check out my new Comic Book Day vlog, linked down in the description below. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and assume that if you are watching beyond this point, you are okay with the spoilers, so let's go ahead and roll right on into this video because we have got a big one for you this week. And it was not easy to come up with my pick of the week this week. All three of my picks for each of the individual publishers were phenomenal stories, and each of them in their own right deserves their 10 out of 10. Spoiler alert, all three of the top four DC, Marvel, and Independent this week are 10 out of 10 issues. And we're going to start with Marvel. Just barely edging it out, but we've got Ultimate Endgame issue number 3. I know I've already said my spoiler alert, but this one's a big spoiler, so if you have not read this issue, click off now. Trust me, you don't want to hear what I'm about to tell you. Okay? Here we go. I am an easy person to make emotional when it comes to comic stories. And let me tell you, when the end of this issue made it at least appear like they have actually killed Peter, wow. Wow is all I have to say about that. I mean, it's insane to me. It's such an emotional, like, story, and then to end it off with this letter from Peter Parker to Mary Jane that's supposed to only be read in the event of his death. Wow. That hit me very much, and it was incredible. The writing behind this has been phenomenal. I know I had a very rocky start with issue number 1 of this series because of their blind bags, which is why you'll notice I didn't get any Daredevil blind bags in our most recent new Comic Book Day vlog, because, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Anyway, but we had a little bit of a rocky start, but I've actually loved the contents of each and every one of the Ultimate Endgame stories. So I'm going to go ahead and give Ultimate Endgame issue number 3 a 10 out of 10. Now, moving on for Marvel, the next one on the list is The Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue 25. This is number 5 of the Death Spiral event. I have been loving this Death Spiral event a lot. Now, I'm a sucker for the symbiote stuff. I'm a sucker for Venom. I'm a sucker for Eddie Brock. And they finally brought Peter back on Earth, which I did not care for his space travel stuff, which is why I didn't have that on my pull list. But now that he is back on Earth and dealing with symbiote shenanigans and this new serial killer symbiote character, what is it again? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of it off the top of my head. Torment. There we go. I'm going to have to edit out some of that. But Torment is the name of the new symbiote character, and I've really enjoyed all of the stuff they've been doing with it so far. Like, he's been a lot of fun. I like the concept of him being this serial killer that, like, starts at a really far off family member and basically just kills his way in a spiral through your family lineage and through people connected to you until they eventually get to your closest family members, kill them, and then work their way to you and then kill you. Like, that's a messed up concept, and, like, if you're gonna have something to be kind of like almost not quite an antithesis to Carnage, but somebody that's gonna kind of be a threat alongside someone like Carnage, that's the way to do it. That is a great concept. I've loved it. I've really loved the writing of Peter. I've really enjoyed MJ as Venom, actually. I know a lot of people are iffy on MJ as Venom. I've liked it a lot. And she finally is no longer with Paul, which was my least favorite thing about MJ's character, was the fact that she was with Paul. So now that she's finally dumped Paul and is just all in on being Venom, or She-Venom, I think she's going to end up eventually calling herself She-Venom. But regardless, now that she is currently Venom, I've just been really enjoying it. She's been great. Her writing has been a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and actually give this one another 10 out of 10. This has been such a fun run. Next up for Marvel, we have got Null, issue number 3. I love Null. A lot of people know that, like, my top 5 favorite villains in Marvel are Doctor Doom, Thanos, and then it's kind of a hard choice between Carnage and Null. I love Carnage. I love Null. But this has featured Null. This has featured Thanos. I also am a big fan of Hela, and she is obviously incredibly featured in this series. So the majority of my favorite villains throughout all of Marvel are featured in this story, and I've really enjoyed it a lot. It has been a lot of fun, and this issue in particular is us getting to see Null fighting against Thanos and eventually acquiring this light spear thing that we don't exactly know what it is, but it's really interesting the way that they're leading into this. I really think I don't know, because we've definitely got we've got a version of Eddie Brock, so I think we're going to get a Venom type character. I'm not sure if this is going to be, like, connected to Meridius and all of that shenanigans from the, the Venom Wars storyline from a couple years back, but which they kind of abandoned, so I hope this is them picking that storyline back up a little bit, because I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. Regardless, though, this issue was a lot of fun. I love Null's character, I love Thanos' character, and I love getting to see 2 of my favorite villains throughout all of Marvel Comics duking it out. That's just a lot of fun. So, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a solid 9 out of 10. I think it was mostly action. There was a little bit of story, but it was mostly action, and the art was great. The storytelling, where there was story, is great. I really like Al Ewing's writing so far, and I think Null as a character is so interesting and so cool to me as a concept that I'm just a sucker for it. Moving on, though, to Marvel's next book, we have got Fantastic Four. This is issue number 9. This is part 4 of the Invincible Woman storyline. And here we get essentially Sue battling it out. Not really battling, though. It's more of a debate that she allows Sue to have with her. And by the middle of this book, we definitely get revealed that this Invincible Woman variant of Sue was going to do the same thing to Sue's mind that she had done to her own mind, basically lobotomize her and turn her into another version of her. And throughout this story, we consistently get told that essentially that Sue is not as strong as this Invincible Woman variant of herself. I really do believe that the end of this story is going to be our variant of Sue developing similar powers, but being able to handle it and being able to learn how to control them properly, unlike the backstory of this Invincible Woman variant of her. So I enjoyed this quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and give this story an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I really hope this Invincible Woman story continues to deliver as much as it has. Next up for Marvel, we have one that I've been kind of hyped for a minute. This is Godzilla Infinity Roar, issue number 2. And this is a lot of fun. it is Marvel kaiju fights, is exactly what it is. It is Marvel's various kaiju trying to fight against Galactus, and in this issue in particular, we get, or not Galactus, Godzilla, and in this issue, we get Galactus versus Godzilla. And that's a lot of fun. That is a whole lot of fun. But as you can probably guess, because this series does in fact continue, Godzilla wins. In a very brutal fashion, actually, because Galactus consumes Godzilla, and then Godzilla rips his way out of Galactus. And so it seems like Galactus is dead. The last thing we get is Galactus saying, "To me, my surfer," and the Silver Surfer on his way, and then we get Asgard gathering heroes from Earth to help Odin, essentially forming a team of cosmic superheroes to go combat this Godzilla creature. So I enjoyed this quite a bit. Overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 8 out of 10. A lot of fun, a lot of action, just really good. And then next up, one that surprised me, we've got Wiccan Witches Road, issue number 4, which is a lot of fun. So this story, I initially didn't care for all that much, those first couple issues, but then 3 and 4, I feel like it's really caught its stride, and I've been enjoying the storytelling in this quite a bit. This issue in particular, actually, I liked a lot. This was definitely by far my favorite issue of the series. Now, I will say part of that comes from the fact that we do get a good amount of actual crossover characters I'm more familiar with and therefore a little more excited to see. Scarlet Witch, Storm, and of course you have Billy, so you gotta have Tommy. Yep, all three make their appearance at the end of this, well, like kind of middle of this issue, and we get, it's just a lot of fun, and then we get some good, like, brotherly sibling bickering between Billy and Tommy at the end of the issue, when they're, like, working together to go hunt down Baba Yaga to try and take the powers of the, the Demiurge back from Baba Yaga. And I thought it was a lot of fun. To be honest with you, I think this story's improving. The next issue is the finale of this story, on issue 5. So, I'm just hoping that it sticks the landing, but I'm going to go ahead and give this one also an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a lot of fun. Next up, we have got a MCU tie-in comic. This is Fantastic Four First Foes, issue number 1. And this is set in the universe of the Fantastic Four from the most recent Marvel movie. And it is the story of right as they get their powers and some of the first villains that they face. In particular, this is the origin story of the Mad Thinker. And it is a lot of fun, and it's a really good story. I know I say it's a lot of fun a lot. I repeat myself, I'm sorry. But it is. It's just a really good read, especially if you really enjoyed the movie Fantastic Four First Steps. If you liked that movie, you're going to like this comic, because it does give you some insight onto those characters and their origin. I'm pretty sure this is considered canon to the MCU as well. So that's a thing, but overall it's a lot of fun, and I just really enjoyed myself. Dan Slott wrote this one, Dan Slott's a fantastic writer, and having him on Fantastic Four is just awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Really good, very enjoyable, especially for a MCU tie-in comic. And then at the bottom of the stack for Marvel this week, but definitely not a bad read whatsoever, we have got Dungeons of Doom issue number 3. I want to say this gosh, is there... Yeah, this was the end of this story, because we got an epilogue and everything. So this was the end of this story, which is kind of why this is at the bottom of the stack, because I really think this story could have gone on a couple more issues. I think the end feels just a little bit rushed, like they needed to end this so they could start the next thing. And like, I just think it could have been handled better, but it was still a good read. Don't get me wrong. It's the same complaint that I've had with all 3 issues of this story now. And it's just that it was not quite the story I was expecting to get out of a story called Dungeons of Doom. I was really expecting more of a dungeon delve, like Dungeons and Dragons almost inspired story of like a group of adventurers, you know, or heroes in this case, delving through Doom's innermost dungeons and finding all these creatures and artifacts and stuff. And it's sort of what we got, but it wasn't what I was hoping for. It was still good though, and I think this last issue is probably the best of them. It's definitely the most action forward. And we've got stuff that's going to lead into Infernal Hulk. We've got stuff that's going to lead into Captain America, and we've got stuff that's going to lead heavily into, what is that event that Chip Zdarsky is doing? Judgment Day or something to that effect? Armageddon? I think it's Armageddon. And yeah, I thought this was a decent read, though, still. I would give this a 6 out of 10. It was still good. I would still pick this up and read the whole series. It'll probably come out in a nice little collected thing since it's only a 3-issue mini, so maybe they'll do like an omnibus with all of the like Doom stuff from One World Under Doom to like Dungeons of Doom and the Wheel of Doom one-shot and all that other stuff. All the tie-ins and everything. Who knows? I'm not Marvel. I don't want to speak for them. Next up, we are going to give it to Void Rivals. That's right. Independent Comics gets the next pick of the week this week. They're in number 2. And this story is so good. This is number 4 of 6 of the Quintesson War. And Robert Kirkman is just knocking it out of the park, as always. I mean, Robert Kirkman does not disappoint between Invincible and this. And I've never read The Walking Dead, but everybody I've talked to who's read The Walking Dead has loved it. So, but everything I've read by Robert Kirkman has been phenomenal, and this is no exception here. The art is fantastic. Who's the artist on this one? Andre Bresson. And it's so good. I love it. I love the Quintessons. I love this new Quintesson character that we are introduced to that is just decimating through their forces. And it makes you really wonder how exactly the people of this planet, I'm trying to remember the name of off the top of my head, but how exactly their two sides are going to be able to defeat them. And I still think ultimately it's going to come down to unity. I think they are going to end up uniting together as their two people, and that is going to allow this Goliath character to wake up and defeat the Quintessons, but ultimately lead to a bigger problem between the destruction of the Rim and the rise of Goliath. So I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. I already told you guys all 3 of the picks of the week for each of the publishing companies are 10 out of 10s this week. This is phenomenal. It's so good. If you're not reading Void Rivals or the Energon universe as a whole, what are you doing? You're sleeping. Go pick this up. I know the Energon universe just recently got announced they're getting adapted to, I think it's a series. I'm hoping animated. I'm hoping really well animated. Now, mind you, I'm hoping it's going to be more like anime inspired, but we'll see. Live action would be cool too. They would just have to have a really good budget. Regardless though, 10 out of 10 issue. Love Void Rivals. Go read the Energon universe. Next up for independent comics, we have got a Mad Cave comic here, I think, right? Mad Cave? Yep, Mad Cave comic here. We've got the new Space Age. This is issue number 4. I've loved this so far. This story has been so much fun. The art is really good. It's got a very, kind of unique style that it doesn't feel like your stereotypical comic book art style per se, but in a really well done way. Like, I enjoy the visuals quite a bit. But the story is where this shines. The story has so much heart. This main character trying to find his brother after he was abducted as a child, and he swore that he would figure out a way to search through space to go save his brother. It's so good and very emotional. I love him decking the guy who betrayed them in the last issue just right in the face as soon as he sees them. That felt good for me. So I'm sure it felt good for the character. Overall, though, this story was a lot of fun. I'm sad that it's going to be concluded in issue number 5, apparently. Very sad. But overall, I loved this. I thought this was a fantastic story. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 9.5 out of 10. Next up for Independence, we have got Skinbreaker, another Robert Kirkman. Big surprise there. This is number 7 of, I believe, 9 issue series, or maybe 8. It's either 8 or 9 issue. And this issue in particular is a lot of fun. We finally get Anouk and the other chief working together to help save the tribe together, and Anouk wielding his new Skinbreaker that he has obtained when he found the source of the metal, and eventually giving that to the new chieftain and allowing them to work together as 2 chieftains. So now the tribe is going to have 2 chieftains, and it seems like the big conflict between Anouk and this new chieftain is at least settled for now. So, we will see where the rest of this story goes from here. But I thought this was a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and give Skinbreaker issue number 7 a 9 out of 10. Really good read. Next up for the Independents here, we have got Final Boss. This was issue number 5 of this. This is a Tyler Kirkham, not to be confused with Robert Kirkman. Tyler Kirkham series. I often confuse the two. That's the only reason I'm specifying that. And this story is a lot of fun. David Miller's on arts with this one, and I've really liked Final Boss a lot, actually. It's essentially kind of your, like, stereotypical Mortal Kombat, this, like, big tournament between people with these, like, crazy powers and whatnot. And this is the end of the first volume. So we have got, the next issue isn't going to come out until sometime in May. So we're going to get a little bit of a break here. I really liked this. I thought this was a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and give Final Boss issue number 5 a 8.5 out of 10. Really, really good. Next up, we have got Supernatural. This is issue number 6. This is a Dynamite series. And it is a lot of fun, actually. I am actually currently rewatching through Supernatural, so it's been kind of nice to be reading this comic while also watching through the series. It sort of helps me get a feel of the way the characters are supposed to behave in the series, to kind of feel like if they're written well in the comic. And I think they're pretty well accurate for the most part. I think there's a couple of things here and there. You can tell that they couldn't afford actual cars, so they had to lock up the Impala in issue 1, so we haven't gotten Baby this entire series, and that's just sad. But other than that, I've loved this series. This story in particular was a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 8 out of 10. Next up for Independence, and the last up for Independence, we've got Capes. This was issue number 5. The next issue is the last issue of the previous run, and then after that, it is all brand new content. Now, that being said, this is all brand new to me. I have not read the older Capes run that this is just. This is pretty much just like a, for those of you who don't know, it's essentially a remaster or a remake of the original Capes run. There was just a 1-6, and it was done. but after issue number 6, it is going to be continued, and it's going to be all new content going forward. But overall, I really enjoyed this story quite a bit. This issue, we get the culmination of the story of the Meteor Twins after one of the 2 Meteor Twins had died, and in one of the previous issues, the surviving Meteor Twin discovered that being near his brother's ashes would still activate their powers together. And in this issue, we see the full circle of that being the other twin consumes the ashes of the first twin to basically combine together. They are no longer Ed and no longer Marshall. They are now the Meteor Master. They have combined and are essentially one, and together with their powers combined, they managed to take down the, Chronodial. Yeah, that is what it is, the Chronodial here. And it's really action-y. I mean, it is basically just a superhero beating the crap out of a giant kaiju alligator. And it's pretty cool. I liked it. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 7 out of 10. A lot of fun. And now we have moved on to DC Comics, and top of the stack for DC Comics, Absolute Wonder Woman. You knew it was going to be an absolute comic book. It's always absolute when it comes to DC. The Absolute Universe just does not miss, and this issue is no different. I've said it before, Absolute Wonder Woman, I think, is my favorite of the Absolute stories when it comes to what they have done with Diana. This character is just so cool, and the art they do with her, just the imagery, the super cool imagery that they use for her character is just awesome. And I've said it before, whoever does the paneling in particular, whoever designs like the actual panels for the Absolute Wonder Woman story is such a genius when it comes to their panel work. Like, it is so different than anything you will see in comics, and it fits so well with her very, like, mythology and mythical, magical based character that I just love it so much. Each page just flows so well, but it's designed in such a different way. I love it. The art is great, the story's phenomenal, but the panel work just brings it all together so well. As I've said before, all 3 of the tops for our publishers this week were a 10 out of 10, and Absolute Wonder Woman is no different. Absolute Wonder Woman is a 10 out of 10 comic this week. Next up for DC, we've got another Absolute book here. We've got Absolute Martian Manhunter. This is issue number 10. This story, you've heard me gush about a million times, but this story is the most trippy comic book in all of comics. For sure, hands down, the way they do colors, the way they do just their visuals in general. The story is really good. The writing is great. I don't want to take anything away from Dennis Camp's writing, but Javier Fernandez's art in this story is just next level. I mean, just look at the colors on these pages and just how well they are packed in. I want to get it in a good light so you can actually really see. These colors are gorgeous and trippy and just so much fun. I mean, look at this single panel right here of like where they've got the Martian Manhunter trapped in, or the Martian, I guess, technically, just trapped in this extra dimensional space, and it's just so trippy and different. And in this issue, we really see John embracing the metaphysical powers of the Martian and using them to find his way to the Green Martian. And the end of this book, we see John and the Green Martian reunite, but the end is very heavily linking to that John's son, Tyler, who is still possessed by the White Martian, is going to make some kind of move soon against John. And overall, I thought this was another 10 out of 10. Absolute Universe is always good. Absolute Martian Manhunter is phenomenal. I'm so sad that it is ending in 2 issues, but I am loving the ride there. Next up for DC, we have The Flash. This was issue number 31, of The Flash. And this is all centering around Wally, and this issue was really good for me. I was actually really surprised how much I loved this story of Wally now as an adult with a wife and 3 children. I thought that was a lot of fun, and then we find out throughout this story essentially that some dude or company has put out a internet challenge essentially where he will pay anyone who can get a video of themselves being saved by the Flash $10,000. Or not anyone, the person with the best video of them being saved by the Flash gets $10,000 within 24 hours every single day. And so you've got these people who are just like, well, the Flash is going to save us. He'll always save anybody in this city. Like, he is the Flash, and he's the fastest man alive. So we've got these people, like, jumping off of buildings and derailing trains and putting themselves in front of moving trains and all these other things while filming themselves. It's essentially TikTok challenges, but, like, in the DC universe. And I've got to say, like, as a commentary to real life, I thought that was just hilarious, honestly. Like, it was a really good commentary of our real life internet shenanigans. And I thought the characterization of Wally, like, trying to figure out a way to stop this from happening because, like, everybody's calling him on his bluff. Like, when he tells them, you have to stop, there's like, well, what are you going to do? Stop saving us? We know you're not going to do that. You're gonna save us, so why do we have to stop? I really liked that. I thought that was really interesting, and I'm really curious to see where this story is gonna go from here. I'm gonna give The Flash issue 31 a 9.5 out of 10. Next up for DC for the week, we have got Superman. This is issue number 36, the start of the Superboy Primetime story. In the aftermath of the events of DCKO, Superman Kal-El, or Clark Kent, is no longer currently... His whereabouts in the DC universe are unknown after his combat with Darkseid in the DCKO tournament, and Superboy Prime has decided to take up the mantle of Superman. But because of his shady past and whatnot, Lois Lane decides to try and make him humanize himself a little bit more, so she makes him get a job. And given that he is, for those of you who don't know, Superboy Prime is a person from our world, from our reality where the DC universe exists as comic books. And he was born Clark Kent in our world and named after Superman and everything. And he grew up idolizing Superman, reading Superman comic books, reading all the DC comic books. He is your stereotypical comic book nerd DC superfan from our world who gets sucked into the comic book world, becomes the super OP version of Superman, and, well, you know, he's done some good things, he's done a good amount of bad things too, he's been a villain, he's been a hero, now he's a hero again, and we are going to see, he basically decides to get a job at a comic book store. And so he's just essentially this superhero reading comic books and fighting crime. And it's quite enjoyable, actually. I identify a lot with Superboy Prime here in this story. Now, obviously, I don't identify with all of the things that he has done in the past. He has definitely been a horrifically evil monster before in the past, but he seems like he's changed, and I'm hoping that that change sticks. Overall, I'm going to give Superman issue number 36 a 9 out of 10. And now we are on my last book for the week, the bottom of the stack for DC. Again, not a bad read, though. We have got Justice League Unlimited. This is issue 17. And this, you guys know, when I picked this one up, I said this was the story on the hot seat for the week. If this one did not impress me, this was off the pull list. Well, this impressed me quite a bit, actually. I didn't really like Justice League Unlimited during the DCKO event. I wasn't a big fan of their whole, like, time-displaced clone variant, whatever things of these different heroes that they just used as cannon fodder throughout the series to randomly die in hell to fight Necron or whatever. It wasn't very fun. But this seems like a lot of fun, actually. We've got the aftermath of this. This basically picks up right where DCKO issue number 5 leaves off. We've got the Earth returning back to normal after Clark used the Heart of Apocalypse to basically give all of the participants of the tournament's part of the alpha energy that he had collected in order to... And then he staved off Darkseid for the moment. But Darkseid is going to return, and the heroes have to prepare themselves for that. And they currently don't have Clark there with them. So they, throughout this story, make the decision, and it is revealed at the end that they do come to the decision that they are going to give all of the villains who participated in the DCKO tournament a pardon and full amnesty from their previous crimes, under the guise that they will help them in this coming war with Darkseid, this coming, as they are calling it now, a crisis event. And I really do think that was a hint that we are actually getting a new crisis. I don't know what it's going to be called. I'm going to bet Absolute Crisis is going to be the name of the story. But either way, that is awesome. And I love that we are going to get villains joining the Justice League Unlimited. And some serious villains like Lex Luthor and Starro and Giganta. Harley Quinn's in there. Cheetah. Lobo. So yeah, like, that's quite the interesting development. I'm really curious to see where the story's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 8 out of 10. And with that, that is the end of my weekly comic review show. If you enjoyed this video at any point, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Any kind of feedback or commentary you can leave this channel is always greatly appreciated. If there was anything on my list that you disagree with my placement on, if there's anything that you read that I didn't read that you think would have been one of my top 10 for the week, let me know in the comments down below. I am always looking forward to having a conversation with you about comic books. Comic books are my passion, and if you're watching this channel, I imagine they are yours as well. But with that being said, I hope you check out this channel for more comic book content to come. Have yourself a fantastic day, fantastic week, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.